Hello and welcome back to another episode of Positive Solutions for Life. This is Peggy Meyer. Today's guest is Randy Lyman. Randy, the purpose-driven leader. He is a physicist turned entrepreneur who built multiple seven-figure companies by fusing business savvy with emotional intelligence and spiritual grounding. After founding a leading company in the tech space, a personal breakthrough shifted his focus toward creating cultures of connection and purpose. His book, The Third Element, which came out in March, reveals the emotional key to the law of attraction and how unhealed emotions secretly shape our reality. Randy's mission is to inspire others to heal, connect, and unlock their full potential by harnessing their emotional awareness for true abundance and success. So, welcome to the podcast, Randy.
Well, hello, Peggy. It's great to be here.
So awesome. I am excited for our conversation. So, with that, can you start by just sharing just a little bit more about you, your personal journey, and how it has led to where you are today?
Well, for the first 28 years of my life, which was until about 35 years ago, I was a left brain physicist, engineer, entrepreneur. And I did have multiple seven-figure businesses at the time. They ended up being eight-figure.
Nice.
I was blessed with meeting a woman who helped me start to see the spiritual, emotional side of life. So being completely left brain and then being introduced to the unseen
Mhm.
and the more humanistic, softer side of life was a huge shock for me. But ultimately, it led to so much more success, so much more happiness, so much more fulfillment than I ever could have achieved just being smart and working hard.
Well, some of us we need a little bit of both. I'm glad you were able to find out, there is another side of that because, the left brain people, hey, we need those people, but we also need that connection, which I feel like that softer side, that emotional side, the spiritual side, the unseen side kind of comes into play. So is there, can you describe, was there a specific moment that, when you realized that this softer emotional side, was there?
Well, it all started in 1989. I was filling in at one of my differential service shops, filling in for the service manager who was out. And this woman, Maria, walked into my service shop and needed to have the differential in her car repaired. And we had an immediate connection. She'd been spending most of her life studying the spiritual side of the unseen side of life. And so we met at a place of conversations around energy. As a physicist, everything is around energy,
Yep.
vibrational energy, potential chemical, nuclear energy, all that. Well, and from her point of view, everything was spiritual, emotional energy.
Mhm.
So, because of that common thread of energy, she intrigued me to start to look at things differently. And as we spent 3 years together, she introduced me to a lot of new ideas that I continue today to explore.
Yeah.
And so my life went from, again, just being the first two elements. Everything in life fits into three elements or three categories:
Mhm.
our thoughts, our
Mhm.
actions, and our emotions. Well, I avoided emotions, but once that was opened up to me, then I looked at life differently.
Mhm.
I was able to get through a lot of my own personal emotional wounds and challenges, and my life improved in every way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too personal, but maybe in general, like why do you think people get like, oh, I don't want to touch the emotions? Like that kind of seems like, ugh, that's kind of like, no, I don't want to go
Well, I
there.
can tell you from my experience. I can absolutely tell you from my experience because it was scary and it hurt. I had uh, experiences of disappointment, of rejection, of abandonment, sadness covered up by anger,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
all that was within me. And I thought with my mind, if I just worked hard and I was smart and I worked hard, then I would find happiness.
Mhm.
And happiness is a feeling. So we can't have a feeling of happiness without looking at our feelings and our emotions. And we're taught in this world that we will be happy if we achieve
Mhm.
monetarily and physically and educationally. If we achieve, we're going to be happy. But the reality is happiness is a decision, and we have to remove the things that make us unhappy. And
Mhm.
that means we have to feel those feelings. So I just wanted to avoid it. It hurt. Don't want to
Yeah.
go there. I'm not going to go there. And the universe kind of tricked me into going there in a good way.
Yeah, that kind of has a way of like showing its colors, right? The energy kind of circles around eventually and opens us up to what we really need to look at when we kind of avoid it. I kind of talk about it in different aspects as it's like the whisper or the yell, and then all of a sudden it smacks you across the head with a two by four. You can't avoid it then. Um, But yeah, those emotions, those especially those negative emotions, we want to avoid those, but we can't have one without the other. I mean,
Well,
I'm go
we
ahead.
don't need to avoid them. But now, yes, they can hurt at times. It's painful. It's uncomfortable, and our ego is designed to protect us. We don't want to kill the ego. The ego is who we are as a personality. We learn to partner with our
Mhm.
higher self and through our intuition and with our child self. But the ego is designed to protect us from physical pain and emotional pain. And until we understand that the only way to truly find who we are at the deepest level is to work through the pain and feel it and release it, and until we understand that, the ego's not going to go down that road. So in my new book, The Third Element, I
Mhm.
talk about how the universe works. I talk about the value of working through our pain, and I talk about how wonderful our life can be once we work through that emotional pain. So if we're not given a good reason and we don't understand, then we're going to avoid the pain. That's natural. That's human. That's a smart thing from ego's perspective.
But not necessarily our heart's perspective either.
And the funny thing is, from ego's perspective, it's not a good thing, but ego's experience ends up being, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this hurts for a little while, but it's not bad. And now my life is better. And now my thoughts are more effective. Now my
Mhm.
actions are more effective. Now I'm happier. I'm healthier. I have better relationships. I have more money. All these things happen. But if we don't understand the process, we don't understand the path, we're not going down that dark tunnel because we don't see light at the end of the tunnel yet.
Right, right. And so you did mention your book, like what it's based on kind of like the law of attraction, but you put in the emotional key to it. Can you tell the listeners if they're not aware of, what is the law of attraction?
So the law of attraction says things that are similar to each other are attracted to each other. Now, in science and general life, we learn opposites attract in the way of electrical charge. But in the resonance of harmonic resonance of frequencies, whether it's sound, whether it's frequency at a nuclear level, whatever it might be, everything in the universe has a vibrational frequency. And the law of attraction says is anything with a similar frequency is they're attracted to each other. So what happens is when I think of negative thoughts, that has a negative energy that attracts negative things to me. Positive thoughts, a positive energy. Positive actions, a positive energy. Positive emotions. The universe says, "Oh, you're feeling positive emotions. I'll bring you more of that."
Yeah.
And and I explained in the book, the law of attraction creates every moment of our day, co-creates it with us. And the challenge is if we have emotional energy from the past that we have not released, that still resides in our being. Emotions are bigger than time and space. They don't go away with time. They don't change with time. They only change when we feel them completely. So the law of attraction says like attracts like. So what my painful emotions want to be released, God in the universe says, I want you to feel good. So I'm going to give you the gift of irritation, of a reminder of a past pain. Now that's a complicated sentence, but basically it says the irritations in our life today are a gift if we look at them and say, oh, you're reminding me of something I can feel and heal and release. When we learn how all that works and we learn processes, which I explain in the book, processes to heal that, then we say, okay, this is not bad, not necessarily good on the outside, but it
Right.
doesn't mean it's only bad. It's also good that then we can use it as an indicator to find out what we need to heal. And when we heal those old emotional wounds, emotional energy is like storing gasoline in a metal can. 10 years, 20 years later, you pour it out, it's going to burn. And so emotions are the same way. But once we burn the gasoline, it's gone. Once we feel the pain of our old emotions, that energy is gone. It's turned into heat through crying tears, through punching a punching bag, through screaming at a tree in the forest, or just
Yeah.
feeling some sadness that we need to feel. And that's gone. And the universe no longer needs to remind us of that wound. And then love comes in, replaces that pain, and there's more opportunity for goodness in our life.
Yeah. It opens that door. If we actually look at our emotions and feel them and acknowledge them, you know, we can open up more better doors. But we can't do that unless we acknowledge that sometimes those bad things are there for a reason. We got to learn from it, look back.
Well, yeah, they're either there, and I talk about that in chapter 2 of my book,
Mhm.
why evil exists, why bad things happen. And it's because our soul has chosen to have those lessons, or there's only two things. Our soul has chosen to have the lesson, or the universe is reminding us with the whisper, with the voice in our ear, with, as you said, getting hit by a 2x4,
Yeah.
getting hit by something big that says, hey, pay attention. I have a gift for you here. Pay attention. And if we don't have the understanding of how the process works, then we're just irritated and we try and change the outside world. And we can't change the outside world. The only way to change the outside world is by changing us. And if you told me this 35 years ago, I would say you're crazy. But if you try to convince me any otherwise today, after
Hmm.
tens of thousands of experiences and thousands of experiences with other people, I
Right.
know that's how the world works.
Yeah. Yeah. That energy just like creates those opportunities for us to learn, relearn, and kind of reshape what it is that we want to go in the future. So we
And
want more happiness.
And we can reshape that through our thoughts. Our thoughts guide everything that we do, but our thoughts cannot heal emotions. So our emotions can only be healed through what we feel in our body in the present moment. The mind is never in the present moment. It's a stream of thought going from the past to the future. We can observe in the present moment, but that's different than our thoughts. And
Hmm.
the emotions know no time. So they have to come through our body. So our mind, we have to set the intention. We have to go through a process to feel what we need to feel. And we
Hmm.
have to be bold enough. We have to be brave enough to feel those emotional wounds. And
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah, because we have to acknowledge those emotional wounds, what they are. How does somebody dig those up? I mean, they come to the surface, but how do they like, acknowledge them and like, like, hey, here they are.
Look, there's many ways to do it. In my book in chapter 7, I outline 14 different ways, but a few of my favorites are breathing. Even if I don't know how to breathe, if I'm not trained as
Yeah.
breathing, I could do something simple as I'm frustrated, I'm feeling something in my body. I breathe in air and I feel it come through my nose or mouth, fill my lungs and my stomach, and now I'm aware of my body. Now, if I can become aware of the feeling of emotional pain and discomfort, disease, and then imagine breathing that out.
Hmm.
Now, that's all silly. Oh, you can't imagine it. Well, yes, we can. When we imagine, our body responds. And then another one is just, okay, journaling free form, or for left brain people like me, make a list of what's bothering me on the outside world. What outside things are bothering me? Then, can I fix them? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, once I go through the list, I at least feel better. I only have 5 things or 25 things to fix. The mind says you have 300 things. It starts imagining all these problems that aren't real. So I put the problems on paper, and I feel better because I know I can tackle, I can
Hmm.
complete this list eventually. Next step, what action can I take? Third and most important step, what does that make me feel? Now I can find a way to heal those, or at least work through some of those emotions.
Hmm.
So great gratitude. If I can find something to be happy for, even if I'm stuck in an ugly city and I walk through the town, I'm going to find a flower or a plant or a tree or a weed growing through the
Yep.
sidewalk.
Yep.
And if I look at the weed and say, holy cow, it had an opportunity for life and it's making the best of it. Now I'm feeling grateful and I'm feeling. We have to
Hmm.
feel to work through this.
Yeah.
And we feel gratitude for anything that takes us in the right direction. So there's a lot of little simple exercises we can do. EFT tapping is another one that I'm really big on.
Yep. Yep. Those are all like great, but we have to like become aware of it first and want to choose. We have to choose to do something with it. We have to choose a different way of doing it. We have to choose, a different perspective, just like you talked about being, the little weed in the growing up in the sidewalk. That's a different perspective, right? It's oh my gosh, ugly weed, but it could be, a dandelion, what I don't know. My kids used to bring in dandelions all the time for flowers, and now I'm just like, hey, you're not picking dandelions for me anymore. Like why not? They have other flowers, but the perspective of how it can shift your life by changing your view of your emotions, not as bad things, but as messengers. Like there's something there that you need to learn from it. And you can experience life better by doing so.
And the law of attraction will respond to whatever we go looking for. If we go looking for problems, we'll find problems. Now, in some situations, we have to identify problems to remove those problems from our life. I get that. That's important in business. That's
Right.
important in my personal life. That's important with my health. But now, if I go looking for the good things and I start visualizing the good things and I say focus on the good possibilities, the universe is going to show me good because I'm open to those possibilities. So my intention creates my reality. I still have to take action. I
Mhm.
still have the opportunity and the gift of feeling my emotions to become more clear. But I have to set my intention. And we're taught misery loves company, or not taught that, it does love company, but we're taught to look for misery and commiserate and complain. And when we're 5 years old and we complain, things probably get better. When I'm 25 years old or 55 years old and I complain, things aren't going to get better for me. This is not about somebody taking care of me anymore. This is people finding out they have power over their reality. They have the ability to set their intention, change their actions, heal their emotions, and create a wonderful life. And that sounds simple. Okay, it's simple. The problem is it's not easy, but it's possible.
It's possible. Yeah, because it is. You know, how have you seen people's lives change by just kind of embracing some of these ideas? I mean, your own life or somebody else's is like, how can that change? Like, like stories or, examples, specific examples. Because I think sometimes listeners are like, yeah, 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 but what's the concrete thing here?
Well, a friend of mine who's a president of a company the guy that I knew, he was having challenges with his son. His son had some major addiction challenges, and he kept trying to change his son instead of feeling the sadness that he had around the situation.
Mhm.
And once he was able to get to his own sadness, to his own feeling of disappointment in himself, disappointment in the universe, all the deeper feelings around his son's challenges within himself, not his son, not to project out to his son, not to change his son, but to feel what he needed to feel. It was difficult for him. It was a multi-step process, but when he got to those underlying feelings and cried the tears as a respectable, intelligent man,
Mhm.
and myself included, when we have pain to feel, we got to feel that pain in whatever way we can. So he worked through many steps. He felt the pain. He owned it. He worked through it. His son turned his life around.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't like the word necessarily accepting, but you accept your emotions, you acknowledge your emotions and how that's making you feel and the things around it. That's that energy going out. And once you like embrace it, I guess, and work through it, that sends out different energy to other people. And I
And
think,
yes, and I want to talk about accept and allow. So
Mhm.
accept says, I'm not okay with this, but I'm going to accept it. And when we get to the deeper perspective of, oh, this is all in harmony with our path in the game of being human and life and multiple lifetimes and all that, then we look at it and we say, oh, of course I can allow this and I'm not going to judge it because it doesn't affect me. Only I affect me. My thoughts, my actions, and my emotions affect me. I control that. I no longer need to judge the outside world. I can be discerning and say, I need to set a boundary. I need to avoid this person, or I need to tend to my health. And we can set boundaries. But if we do it from a place of caring rather than a place of judgment and fear, it changes everything. So the only way to change what's outside of us is to first accept it, even if we don't get to a place of saying, oh, this is okay, and I allow it and I embrace it, at
Mhm.
least accept it and
Mhm.
then say, how do I look at myself? What am I feeling? And people, when they hear me say feeling, oh my God, okay, I'm changing the channel. No, 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 wait a minute. I'm not doing this because I'm an emotional guy. I'm
Yeah,
not doing this because I grew up this way. I'm doing this because I'm a physicist. I'm a scientist. I
yeah,
understand cause and effect.
right.
And I've observed this so many times and I've experimented within myself and the people I know and love.
Yeah,
And I found great results every time. Every single time we get
yeah,
to our emotions, we get great results. So that's why I want to share what I want to share because it works.
yeah,
And because even if it's scary, it doesn't change the reality. What are you going to do? Fight God and the universe and the way it's all put together?
right.
Let's figure it out, which I have done and I share. And now let's embrace it and let's find a way to improve our own life and have a better, happier life.
Yeah, well, who doesn't want that? So this is a missing piece, like for a lot of us, right?
This is the missing piece. And the reason people avoided it, and you asked us and we talked about it, is
Yeah,
because it hurts.
yeah,
We don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. It's not scientific. And I explained it in the book in a way that's scientific, that's actually fun to read.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden, oh, okay, this makes sense. God doesn't have a lot of rules for us. There's two rules. One is when we respond from a place of love and caring, we can find an answer. Fear doesn't bring us to an answer, not a lasting answer. And the second is through the law of attraction, we co-create our reality. God doesn't judge us, doesn't have expectations,
mhm,
doesn't say this is good or bad. It simply says, here's the law of attraction. And the law of attraction is your servant. If you want bad, it'll give you bad. If you want good, it will give you good. Now, we didn't get an instruction manual. My book is the instruction manual. And then we can say, oh, I can change my thoughts, change my actions, work through my emotions. And now the law of attraction is a servant to us. Servant. I use that word deliberately
yeah,
to create our reality for good when we intend good and we know what levers to pull in our life to make it good.
yes. I can I don't know what to say after that because this is like that is like wrapping it up, that kind of that is so good. Where can people find out more about you and your book? Because this is so intriguing. I know you do more things than just this third element book that you wrote. So where can people find out more about you and what else you do?
I do coaching. I do one-on-one guidance. I'm not going to call it healing work because I'm not going to get accused of being a practitioner,
Right.
but I provide one-on-one conversations with people. I provide corporate leadership training. And I have other books in the works. Now they can find on my website, randylyman.com and RANDYLYMAN.com. They can find links to my book, where to find the book. They can find free offers. They can find links to the books that I've read. They can find links to the practitioners I work with. They can also join my community. So click on the links, take a
Mhm.
look around, see what's there. And for me, this isn't about making money. This is about sharing what's worked in my life. I've had so much success, it's amazing. And it's about sharing what works in my life so the world can be a better place, one person at a time. Now, if
Mhm.
we all got better at once, that's great too.
Oh
But
yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, this is all that we're here for. I mean, my podcast, Positive Solutions, I'm trying to help people guide them into finding solutions for themselves. And it could be from anywhere. And it could be from a book, it could be from coaching, it could be, someone just changing some of their thoughts and their feelings and what they do. And so this goes right in. You're creating leaders, you're creating opportunities for people to better themselves. Such a great gift to give other people. So appreciate that.
and something that I want to say is, and whether it's now or we mentioned again in closing now or later, what I want to say is that everybody has the opportunity to have a better life. We're all deserving. We all come from a place of divine consciousness. We are a spark of God. We are all deserving, no matter what we believe, no matter what we've been told, no matter where we are today. There is a path forward for a better life, for more love, and we all deserve more. And so some people think, well, me, I don't deserve more. I'm nobody. We're taught to believe that by our environment and the people we grew up with. And none of that's true. We're all beautiful, capable beings, and we can all find a way to improve our life. And that's through education and open mind and
Mhm.
moving forward in ways that may seem a little scary at first, but over time we become comfortable with.
Right, right. Because the only way that we learn that we need to move forward is through some of those hard things that we want to avoid, those uncomfortable feelings. Take those as opportunities to expand, to, get better, to look deeper in ourselves, to be able to shine our light to the world.
And that light isn't within everybody. And when I was first told that 35 years ago, I'm like, what do you mean? I'm just this small human. I'm nobody. Well, I didn't change, and I'm not any better than anybody around me. I just was able to discover that beauty that's within all of us. And I see that beauty in everybody I meet. And it's there for every one of us. We just have to be bold enough to take a risk and go down that path.
Yeah. I feel like it's a gift inside of us that we are, don't just let it sit inside of us. Let it, open up the gift for everybody. And this is what you're
And
doing.
and your podcast and the conversations you have with your guests, this will give a lot of people great opportunity to look at different ways. There's lots of ways to find happiness and enlightenment. And a friend of mine years ago said, if you can find enlightenment through beer and pizza, great. If it works, go do it. It doesn't matter. So again, I love that you share so many different ways with so many different guests that you have, and wherever somebody can find an opening
Mhm.
for more love and more light and more healing, take that risk, take that chance, and know that the universe loves you and is going to support you every step of the way.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Randy. Is there anything else that you want to wrap up with as we kind of come this conversation to the close? Yes, there's your book.
Uh,
Everybody look at it.
My
Right.
book's available on common outlets. I'm going to say that so we don't get
Yep.
banned wherever we put
Oh
it, but
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
easy to find. It's available in paperback, hardback, and Kindle. We're working on the audio version now that'll be out in a matter of a few weeks.
Nice.
And please try it. If you like it, buy it for other people. Not because of me. Do it because it's a path to a better life. And that's my desire is to see people have a better life.
Yeah, and let's gift that to everybody, a better life. That's all what we're here for. We're trying to make the world a better place, one person at a time, one choice, one thought, one emotion. So thank you for joining me today, Randy. It's been a pleasure to have you on, and I so enjoyed, hearing and really just reinforcing that our emotions are there to help us. We just need to uncover it, and we need to line it up with something that we really want to attract in our lives.
This is a lot of fun, Becky. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.